Wicked Witches. It's the nearly full moon. It's not quite the full moon. It's the night before the summer solstice, which is the day before the full moon. We have just entered into Capricorn though, and I wanted to do the ceremony tonight so that people have time to be prepared for tomorrow for the solstice, which is a big power day, and then enjoy the release of the full moon, Capricorn full moon on Friday. It's actually like 1 in the morning on Friday, so kind of really it's tomorrow night. And I would strongly recommend being outside in nature tomorrow, because tomorrow is the summer solstice, which is the celebration of nature. Winter is the celebration of community. So the winter solstice is the celebration of community, which is what we do. You know, as much as you might feel that capitalism and stuff has sort of taken over Christmas, we still are coming together and being family and connected and feasting and just looking after each other to get through the winter. So the winter solstice, which is the 21st of December, it's basically Christmas, is the celebration of people coming together and looking after each other. Summer solstice is nature, it's the celebration of nature. And a secret little magic thing about the summer solstice in the magic tradition, anything you do on the summer solstice ricochets throughout the whole year. So the reason I wanted to do this today and for the ceremony to be tonight is because I want us to go into tomorrow fully aware that it's a beautiful day. Now I've got work tomorrow, I've got to get up and go work in the pub tomorrow, which I enjoy doing, so that's fine. But you know, we don't have control over the fact that we might have to go to work and things like that. But I am going to do nice things for myself tomorrow. Everything I do is going to be an act of worship. I cleaned the house today, so when I go to bed tonight and I wake up, I'm going to be waking up in a clean house. I'm going to make sure I make love to my lovely man tomorrow. I've prepared and filled my fridge with all of my favourite foods. I have looked after myself today. I'm not going to be hungover. I ate well. We've got a really fun celebration planned where we're going to go and have a fire tomorrow night, and we're going to go swimming at sunset and maybe stay up all night and then be there for the sunset in the morning, or maybe go to bed and get up early, or maybe not, or maybe just come back to mine, have a sauna. Whatever it is, it's going to be nice. But we're going to have a lovely day tomorrow. And it's also the closing ceremony for the Witch for You course, which has been epic and quite a lot. I have been exploring my warrior archetype, which is crazy that I hadn't explored before, but it's my blind spot. She is my biggest blind spot. And within that blind spot is all the other blind spot things like money. Money's a big thing for me. Relationships. So it's interesting because the mythos of love was my intention for this year. Smashed that out of the park with my wedding to Dizzle in May. Like, it was the most magical, beautiful and incredible thing I've ever experienced, and it was our wedding, which was just mind-blowing. But then I had some really harsh news this week, where my ex-husband's not in a good place at all. It's not actually because of me. He happened to have split up with a partner recently. It's obviously not going to help that I've also just got married. But yeah, he split up with a partner and he's just not been in a good place. It has meant that we've ended up becoming friends, which I'm really happy about because we hadn't been. But that's kind of a whole new layer of this mythos of love, because I'm looking at and exploring a lot about how my love is and how my love's been received in the past, how it's being received now, how different that experience is, how wonderful it is when it's received positively. So I'm really glad that me and my ex are now connecting as friends. But a big thing that's happened, especially since getting married to Diz, who's just, you know, literally every second of our time is magical and amazing. What is weird is that that's brought up a lot of sadness about how things were with my ex, because I realised that what I offered him was as much as what I'm offering Diz. You know, I offered him what I offered Diz, and one person just sort of, it was like pearls before a swine, and the other person has treasured it like it's the crown jewels and just how different that is. So if you're not being treasured in that way, then don't bother with it. Is my tip. Now, people have just come into the ceremony. After we finish the ceremony tonight, I'm going to do a reading for you. But we're going to plant stones in soil, and then I'm going to pot a plant, and going to create a magical plant to grow our intentions for the rest of the year with this sort of 6-month check-in. So I'll see you on the other side. So the ceremony was utterly glorious, and I really needed that. It was I've been very scattered from Gemini season. I've realised that I think Gemini's not very conducive to ADHD and it's made me feel really scattered, and yeah, it was a lot. It's been a lot, and it's been very emotional and stressful. But as is always the way with these ceremonies, they're like a punctuation mark, and they really just help stop and take, like, do a stock check and just breathe. Like, that's, you know, grammar in a sentence. It's like these moments where it's just like, let's stop and just take a moment to connect and check in with yourself. And hearing and talking to the other people in ceremony, they always share such amazing medicine, and we always have so many things that are in common because we're all in the same energies that are going on. So it's just absolutely brilliant. What we're doing in the ceremony, and what I'm going to be doing in a moment, is planting a stone. So I've got my stone, and I've felt into what it is that I want to grow and develop for the rest of the year. So the winter solstice and the New Year resolutions were made. I'm checking in with them. Mine was the mythos of love. Had a lot of really intense, amazing stuff. Getting married, and the wedding was just mind-blowingly magical. I mean, that was mythos of love. It was mad. It was so magical and so loving, and our marriage is so loving. And then such crazy stuff has then come up since as well, to think about, you know, toxic love and difficult love, and so it's made, yeah, it's bringing up all sorts of things. But also the main thing that came out of the ceremony just now was that I'd kind of lost joy in a lot of the things I was doing. I was doing them from a place of sort of stress and anxiety. I've been feeling really anxious this last last week especially. So what's going on my rune is, my stone is the rune for joy, and also the rune for surrender, because I feel like I need to surrender to, you know, just letting things be as they are. Yeah, and then I'm also going to do the infinity symbol and the circle, because we're all one and connected, and then also we have this inner and outer world. So I've got the heart, the circle, the infinity symbol, the symbol for joy, and the symbol for surrender are all going on my stone, and then I'm going to bury them in the soil. But I'm also going to do a reading, because I feel like that would be quite a good thing to do, to check in. I always do it anyway, but also I'm going to do it before I draw on the stone, just to see if the universe has anything to add. Be strong. This is the first one, which this used to be the one that I was the most flippant about. Now this is in the middle, but then after doing the last pilgrimage, that was the rune that ended the 4 pilgrimages that I did. So that was a mega rune to end on, and I have never felt the strength that I felt in that moment. And that's interesting actually, because we've just come to the end of the Witch for You course. I'm doing the closing ceremony tomorrow, and it's been mega. I found the archetype of the warrior, and she's strong but she's vulnerable, and she's a warrior for innocence and divine beauty and truth and love. And so yeah, she's a warrior, but she's not like Mars energy. She's not out there to fight. It's Artemis. It's reverential and pure. So yeah, the strength that I felt at the end of that pilgrimage was so unbelievable. I felt like Wonder Woman. That now for me means like absolutely being solid and powerful, like really connected to your power, which is the warrior in me when she's in full-blown warrior, which the only time I've really felt it fully was at the end of the 4th pilgrimage, where I just knew I'd done the right thing and was in the right place, and it had been successful. You know, couldn't have gone better. It was just like, this has happened, it was perfect. That felt amazing. So that's in the middle there. Be strong, feel that strength, connect to that strength. Physically, it's shining a torch into the dark. So being brave about going out there and going through those caves. It's like Indiana Jones with his torch. Like, don't be afraid. Yeah, there's snakes and bugs and skeletons and whatever, but don't be scared. And then Geoff is the gift. This is about connection with others. And this is in communication. So this is like what just happened with the ceremony, sharing our ideas and stories and connecting to others. It's a bit like the lover card, but the lovers card isn't just about lovers in a sexual way. It's the alchemical wedding, which is you and your higher self. So connecting to and communicating with your higher self, which is what we've been doing in the Witch 40U course. I've been doing it more and more with morning pages, where I talk to the universe every morning and like speaking to that part. Actually, and I haven't spoke to the warrior yet, but I should do that. I need to have a conversation with the warrior, with my inner warrior. But yeah, having those conversations. I do it in writing mainly, but you can do it in your head as well, to just check in and connect with what they are feeling about how things are going, how things are. It feels like life is so full on at the moment in the world that this solstice tomorrow, where it being a lovely day and it ricocheting throughout the rest of the year, having these conversations, connecting with your higher self, and you know, the Capricorn full moon, have a pen and paper to hand for any practical things that you then feel you need to do. You know, things to go on a list to get done and to go and physically make happen. Be really open to those downloads tomorrow. But tomorrow just have this really sweet, lovely day. Oh, there you go. Emotionally and in my will is to surrender. So yeah, where I could be quite fiery and like driven and like overachieving, is to surrender. That's literally the rune that I drew on my stone. Surrender. And then for my spiritual inner world is this warrior spear, and that's about being direct and really being clear with what it is that I want, clear with what my intentions are, having clarity, and that being in the inner world feels like it's like that is the most important thing. And I know it is. I just sometimes I'm like, I feel like I've got that bit nailed. That bit I feel like is nailed, it's speared to the wall. It's the like how to do the outer world bit and cope with the outer world bit that I find more difficult. But you know, it all starts from an inner world place. So I'm now going to pull some cards to follow this up. Let's see what comes through. Ooh, so virtue, the 3 of Wands. Virtue is kind of what I was talking about with Artemis, that it's this place of, it's not innocence in a child way, although the child energy is very strong with the Sun card and the summer solstice tomorrow, but it's more the virtue of like Artemis chooses to be a virgin and is fighting this fight from that place, and it's kind of more of a like Greta Thunberg, Lyra from Dark Materials energy, where it's like I'm fighting this fight from a female warrior perspective that isn't like an angry Mars thing, but is this like solid place that I was talking about. And then the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is very clear and sharp with ideas and with thoughts, which isn't how I've been feeling of late. I've been feeling really scattered and all over the place. So having that inner world directness would be helpful in terms of aligning the scatteredness. And then the Emperor. And the Emperor is sovereign. He's kind of the be strong feeling, being sat absolutely in your seat of power, but the seat of power is not a place of ego, it's a place of serving, where you can be of service to the world because you're so solidly in yourself that you then can be of service, which is how I felt at the end of the pilgrimage. It wasn't a like, I've achieved it. It was like, I am so solidly in my throne and ready to do whatever is needed to be done. You know, it's that place. So yeah, looks like That's a kind of, and they're very fiery cards. That's 2 fiery cards with the air in the middle with the, okay, clarity of ideas, which would be very nice. I need some clarity of ideas. That would be useful. So then we'll do a goddess nudge. What have we got from these? Love these. So this is like a little nudge in the direction, the goddess. Discern. Interesting, and it's the lady with a fox. So I'm actually going to read it because I don't know this one. And discern, and it was straight there. You do give a fuck, but you are very discerning about where and who you give those fucks to. When you remember and recognise that you have your feet firmly on Mother Earth in the present and you have access to all that has been and all that is to come, you'll know. You will know that rushing, judging, doing, reaching is not, or reacting is not what's required right now. What's being called of you is to receive and then respond. And that's completely how I feel when it's saying about feeling scattered. So yeah, maybe this spear thing and the fact that we've got the Knight of Swords there is, yeah, just like I feel like I could do with like a sort of sparkling, clean, crystally kind of feeling in my head, because it's felt like a storm for a while. So yeah, that would be great. That would be marvellous. And then let's see, this is the goddess, sort of like full stop, like drop the mic thing. Transform, which is kind of like the death card, and we talked about that tonight, and Diz picked it as well. So it's quite a big thing, seems to be coming up. So transform is about death. It's she's rising from the fire of the phoenix fire. I'll read this out. I mean, she's a special card to me, and I know her really well, but I haven't actually read what it says on here for ages. Can you feel it? The resistance to change. Stop fighting it. All things form, transform and reform within the cycles of birth, life and death. So instead of fearing it, embrace it. Find the light in the dark of every situation. Ask yourself, what's the lesson in this for me? What's the gift? Sometimes you'll be able to see it instantly. Other times that gift might not become clear till much, much later, but it will be there. This is the alchemy of you. It's where the magic happens. The fiery flames of transformation burn away anything that's no longer needed, and shit gets changed up. The raw base metal you were before turns into gold, and you rise from those fiery flames of transformation like a phoenix. Your perspective changes, you change. I needed to hear that. That's perfect. And that's also the surrendering. It's surrendering to it. Transformation and surrender. Yeah, the transform card is like the death card, and then the surrender card is the hangman, which is like the ice rune. Surrendering. Okay, you jumped out. Here we are. Wisdom. Not. Okay. Let's see, I've not pulled her before. She looks interesting. I don't actually know her either. Not. N-O-T-T. Show it to you. Oh, I'll be putting up photos. There we go. Not. Wisdom. One of the more ancient deities within Norse mythology, the goddess Neit, I do know her, is the personification of the night, ushering forth a darkness across the earth to aid in the passage of time. Hermafaxi, her beloved horse, Hermafaxi, carries her across the sky and drips foam with every gallop, creating the morning dew. Neit is said to be the grandmother to thunder god Thor through the union of Odin and her daughter, the giantess Jod. In other realms, she is also known as Joy of Sleep or Dream Goddess, and eventually became synonymous throughout Old Norse as the proper noun for the word night. That's where night comes from. Neit leads the way through the dark so that you can, a bit like the torch, attain your truth in the light of wisdom. At times it may feel as if emotion has a grip upon your reactions, or that you're being required to act quickly before the thought process has taken place. As Neit rides high above the earth to herald the night, we must try to observe our problems from her perspective. By taking a deep step back, surveying the situation and taking the time required for introspective reasoning, a new insight can be obtained. Now is the time to consider the bigger picture with a renewed clarity in mind. No matter how dark the night has become, your wisdom will always guide you. Again, perfect. Yeah, it's been a tough, I mean, definitely the last week's been a horrible week. So I'm very touched by that reading, and I feel like I'm ready to plant my plant now. I've got a spider plant which I'm going to plant, and I've got the soil, and I've actually got my blood, it's my menstrual blood, with moon water, which is sacred water, which I'm going to feed my plant with. It's the best thing you can possibly use for plants. It's enough to like make a human being. It's life force energy and nutrients and all the right things for making life happen. So you use a moon cup or any kind of menstrual cup, keep the blood and feed it to your plants, and they just go crazy for it. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to make some moon water tomorrow night at the full moon, and leave a jar outside with water in it under the full moon. I always put it in a jar because otherwise bugs and things get in it. But yeah, so that's the ceremony. Tomorrow, make sure you have a beautiful, magical, wonderful day. Make sure everything's sweet and delightful and joyous. And yeah, happy summer solstice and full moon in Capricorn.